Now this is a nice positive thing. New 2-year contract from our new board. Let's go. Easy decisions here. 2 years. No problems. So with the faith of a new contract, I thought now's the perfect time to ask for that new coaching course, because at the minute I'm stuck on Continental B. And despite being in the off season with no training, they have refused our coaching course yet again. Which, when you look at our overall record of 176 games played with a win percentage of 54%, I'm a little bit annoyed, I won't lie. We all agree that I need to change something. Something probably in these midfield areas, because despite the beautiful link-ups, the way they're all enjoying having dinner with each other, the chemistry, we are just conceding too many through balls. So these guys are just not doing enough of the dirty stuff. So we love Volante. At this level, beautiful creative player. But in midfield, you need a bit of steel. So I thought, let's have a look at each midfielder and have a look at their defending, how it's gone through the season. So this is Volante's defensive output as a midfielder. You can see the blue is his output and the white is the average. The only thing he does more than anyone else is foul, probably because he's not great at tackling. If you look, his interceptions per 90 minutes is down. Tackles win ratio is actually not that bad, but the attempted's not there. The clearances aren't there. There's no blocks going on. This is where the problems kind of stem. We'll have a look at the other two mainstays in midfield. Hugo Felix, probably even worse, actually. Probably even worse. He's getting no clearances. He's not getting back, basically. He's not winning any headers in that midfield area. He's not attempting any tackles, and he's not doing many interceptions either. Now, probably the most rounded of the midfielders is Vasco Moreira, and he is a little better. In fact, his tackles attempted is up there. He's doing most of that work. His ratio 1 is decent, but again, not many interceptions because he's in that advanced role, and clearances non-existent. Headers a little bit better, but still lacking overall. Now look, that's not their primary goal. They are creative players, so they're not expecting themselves to come back and defend. But when we don't have a midfielder of that type in there, we need a bit more. Basically, Felix and Volante offer nothing in defending situations. This is Ian. He comes on in defensive midfield, more like a defensive playmaker rather than Volante. When Volante gets tired, and you can see the difference overall, he just does a little bit more. He's not on the pitch long, so he's not going to attempt as many tackles, but interceptions are there. And blocks are there. He's a bit more defensive. It's a bit of food for thought. I'm going to lock down that tactic a bit later on. I'm going to lock it down and we're going to get set for Season 6. For now, we need to rebuild this squad and decide what players are going to stay for next season. As we always do, we'll take a look at the starting 11 here and we're going to remove players that will not be involved next season to give us a nice reminder and stay fresh in our head of the type of players we're going to have to find. Now, we'll start from the back. Breno is outstanding. One of the best goalkeepers in the league. Now, the two centre-backs, we have a problem here, because they're both from Man City, both on loan, both will not extend, so we're going to have to remove both from position. We know about the qualities of Marco Cruz, he stays. Now on the other side, João Asensio has been okay, but if we think about our levels, our attribute levels, he's right on the border, so I'm going to see if I can find a slightly better player than João. So I'm going to remove him and place him on the bench. Felix and Moreira, great players, they stay in midfield. On wide, we've got Balde and Constantinescu, he's going to rotate with hopefully a return in Tony Khan. No need to change there. And Fletcher up front scored 12 goals in the league, 14 overall. His value is starting to rocket. His attributes on the way up. He's only 21. Outstanding. He's definitely our starting striker next season. Which means now we're looking at something like 4 players for the starting 11. And the bench, we're going to improve that as well. But 4 players from the starting 11 is not too bad for a mini rebuild, is it? In fact, if you look at the bench, I've got 12 players there I'm happy to keep hold of there. It's 12 players. So that's not bad. And bear in mind, we've got a couple of players coming in. So we don't have to do as much transfer business. We can really focus in on the starting 11. And there are the 3 players coming in. The keeper in Noah Cooper, backup Rafael Fernandez, defender, which will probably start him. And Miro as the rotational striker with Fletcher. Pre-season friendlies are underway and some decent transfer business, again spending 0. First off, we had to get Selke off our wage bill. A really good player, but he was earning £6,000 a week. We managed to cash in for about £25,000. But more importantly, who's came into the club? We knew about Fernandez coming in on a free transfer for centre-back. Miro up front will replace Selke in that rotation with Fletcher. And Noah Cooper, who's a very good backup to Breno. How about Kevin Ortiz? Formerly of Bournemouth, if you look at his mentals, you can see why I've bought him. Aggression, bravery, leadership, teamwork, work rate, determination. He's a little bit nasty. Mateus Serrara is a Brazilian in on loan from Santa Clara. I can't believe they let us have him. now he's a midfielder, but for me, he's perfect at playing that inverted wing-back role. He's a little upgrade. He's going to start on the right. Tedan Menji is a centre-back, formerly of Manchester United, Luton, spent some time in Africa. We've brought him back. Nice signing. He'll start at centre-back. Now, a sneaky little signing that Unboy and Penza found me. From the Spanish lower divisions, a free transfer. This is Antonio Capellas. Now, he looks like Andrea Pirlo, and when you look at his attributes, he kind of mimics him as well, with the passing, with the technique, decent vision, decisions. He's also quite a big player at 6'1", going to be good in defensive situations. This guy at 20 years old could be something special. So I'm really happy with the summer rebuild. I've got some decent players now, and I've slotted them into the team, and that's where the starting 11 will probably look. You can see the two new centre-backs. We go through centre-backs like crazy. I'm hoping these two will stay a bit and be a bit of a mainstay. We do have a backup if we need it, in on loan from Serbian football, in the amazingly named Cornelius van der Heyden. He's going to be back up until they recall him. But we do have two coming in January from South America. And that's vital because our long-term goal of generating money and replacing with South American players, I feel like these two can do a bit of both. Last season, we got some players late on. We learned that you can get players late on. Well, these guys are coming in January, so they'll be primed for the second half of the season. Two centre-backs, both from Brazilian football. First one is Cal Luiz. Now, he's only 22. High hopes for him. We'll give him a face. And the second one is Chao Amaral. Again, 24 years old, but he looks like he could just walk straight into the team. So this was all about getting a tactic that didn't stifle our creative flow and the goals, but getting a bit more sturdy at the back. And this is what we're going to go with for Season 6. Now, there are very slight changes, but there are some changes that could be significant. Now, if we look down at the back first, I'm going to adopt a cover centre-back with a no-nonsense centre-back, because that will tie in with a new, higher defensive line. We're going to push up a little bit more and squeeze the space. That should be helped by the fact that I'm having an inverted fullback rather than a wing-back on one side, so he won't go as far up. And on the other side, my inverted wing-back will drop in there, and he'll be next to and joined by our new, more defensive player, a defensive, deep-lying playmaker in Capellas. I say defensive because quite often I might drop him to defend, but he's going to sit in there rather than bomb on a bit like the old advanced playmaker did. There's also a slight change to the midfielders. I'm going to ask Felix to go into a Mazzala role. May change that, but early days I'm going to try it. And Maria, instead of being on attack, I'm just going to ask him to drop to support so he can help out a little bit more in defence because he's good at that, a good all-round midfielder. Other key changes in transition. We're going to lose the counter press. When we get the ball, we're going to drop into a regroup, get ourselves back into position. Specifically, these three midfielders. I felt like when we had counter press on, they were chasing the ball, and that's where some gaps were getting left. So we're going to combine the regroup with the higher defensive line, with the change of roles in midfield. I'm hoping that'll do the business. I used pre-season to try a load of different things. There's a load of different results there. You can see the League Cup against Firenze. They are the favourites for the league. So to get beat 4-3 was not a disaster, and I hadn't settled on a formation yet. As we've gone down, there's been some decent performances. But I'm kind of set on this. One change we can do is, if this isn't working with a midfield playmaker, we can always bring on our destroyer and go, here he is, Kevin Ortiz. We can always bring him on and get a defensive midfielder in. Or if we're trying to hold on to a lead, I'm going to explore with a more traditional 4-3-3 and drop him in there and try an anchorman role, maybe. What I do have though, and which is why I'm going to go for a higher defensive line with a cover defender, is I've got two centre-backs who are pretty pacey. He's got acceleration and pace of 14 and 15, and Fernandez has got a top-line pace of 14 as well. So I think it's worth a shot. While sticking with our principles of the lower tempo passing football. So that was our first clutch of games. So far, so good. Promotion favourites Firenze just came and got absolutely put to the sword. Look at our XG, look at our possession. We even missed a penalty. Really good so far. So there's the start to the season, our first 5 matches. Not bad at all, not bad. Has us sitting second, long way to go, but the best thing is we're not conceding an absolute ton of goals. They're still going in, but it looks a bit more solid. First 5 matches, we've scored 12, conceded 6. If that carries on, I'd be more than happy. Because don't forget, last season we conceded 60. So it's better, it's better. That's the way we're going to set the team out. I like the counter regroup combo. I like the slower tempo that we've done right the way through. I've started the youngster in all 5 matches. I wasn't going to, but I just think he looks class. Now I've started his training as well. The things he's going down in are his penalties, free kicks and his corners. I'm not interested in that anyway. I don't need him taking them. Now his training, we've got him doing agility and balance just to make him a more all-round player. Sticking to that deep line playmaker role. I'm telling you, it's Andrea Pirlo Mark II with the hair. And I will point out that now Sporting got promoted last season, so now we have 4 B teams in this league. And remember, those 4 B teams cannot get promoted. So that basically means we're in a little mini league of 14, because the 4 can't go up.